example. Everybody got it? Everybody, and owns a business, yeah. Okay. All right, seems like everybody's got it. gybo.com/business. And then just go ahead and you'll put your business name and address right in here. And then just click Find Out. Everybody in process on that? Any questions about that? Okay? If I had a little Jeopardy clock or something, I'd run it, you know. Okay. Is everyone getting answers? Yes, no? Please, just nod your head, let me know something. Right. Here, go back if you would. Okay. And if you're having troubles with this, I'm happy to stay later and go through it with you without a problem, just so you don't feel like you're not able to get towards you.
What do you do? I mean, we have a very common name, Community Education Center.
Did you put your city in? Enter your business name and city right there. Yeah, you want to put it in with the city. Does everybody, or at least some people, have some results? Yes?
There is for CEC, you put in Lancaster Avenue, Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's going to tell you something like you don't have a listing, or your business information may be incorrect, or good job, you know, you're online fully, et cetera, et cetera. Let me show you what these will look like. Go ahead, Jamie. They'll either look something like this. Nice job, you're on the map. That means that you are claimed and verified. Your business info might be incorrect on Google. That means that you are claimed but not verified. So they're indicating here to verify your business. By the way, don't do anything yet with this. Don't go in and try to verify or change anything yet. It's easy to screw it up. I'm going to tell you how to do it properly. Okay? Number 3, your business isn't on the map. What that means is if your business isn't on the map, that means that little 3-pack that comes up, okay? You're not in there. Google doesn't recognize you anywhere under any circumstances for that purpose. If you have a website, it might be coming up, but your Google profile is non-existent, which is not a good thing, obviously. Problematic to say the least. Now, again, when there's that 3-pack, by the way, of course, you can click in, get more, and there's another, 10 or 20 listings or so. It's not just those 3. The 3 are the ones that are displayed on the front page. Okay? Everyone clear on that? All right. Now, let's go ahead. Jamie, if you would click before me. Jamie, can you click for me? All right. Now, what I'd like to do here is instead of going through the actual PowerPoint and, quickly showing you the screen, I'd like to go into some live Google accounts, okay? These are customers that we manage. We're going to go ahead. I have permission from them. I'm going to show you what you can actually get when you go into the back end of Google and you can actually have your verifications done. This will indicate to you how you use that, okay? So if you would, can you flip that around for a second? I'm just going to try and work with it a little bit here. Okay. So, do we have any questions, first of all, off the gate? I want to make sure that we've got everything kind of clear as far as we go. I know this is a lot of information, okay? I don't expect it's all going to reside, perfectly in your cerebral cortex right out of the gate. But does anybody have any questions to start with?
Yes, real quick.
Go ahead.
If you want to really highlight your brand as opposed to your business name.
There is a branding page. Typically, that would be for something like, Nike or, right, yeah, something like that that doesn't have a physical location per se, right? Even if there was a Nike store in New York City, that would come up with its own Google listing. The brand would come up separate and apart from that. The other thing is that if you don't have a physical listing, in the sense that, for example, let's say you're a consultant and you work out of your home, you can set it up where you don't have to have your physical address in there. You can just show the city that you're in, okay? So that people don't have to necessarily see your physical address if that's a concern as well. The idea of branding versus giving people the opportunity to come in and respond more directly is a conceptual issue from a marketing standpoint that may or may not be most effective for a smaller business. right? It's what's taught, you know, in the communications classes in college is branding, branding, branding. But we're not Gatorade, right? We're not Quaker Oats. We have to actually get a return on advertising dollars, not just put our name out there. But if you'd like to chat about that, I'm happy to do so. Okay, so what we're looking at here then, as follows. When you go into your Google listing and you're synced up with your Google username and password, it's going to be attached to a Google account. So typically, if you have a Gmail account or a Google account that you use for your Google Maps or whatever, in many cases you can use the same account. You can set up a separate Google account for your business if you so chose. Okay, but you can just come in here, google.com business. Okay, come in, hit that, and that will typically, okay. You'll come up here. If you don't have a business name, if you don't have a business in there yet, you can go ahead and see if you're in there. You know, you punch in your name, and it'll usually start to autofill here, and you can come through there. And that's Google telling you what they have currently in play. Let me get into. Doesn't seem to be opening up right now. I'm not sure what the issue is. I'll just go off the PowerPoint. Okay, so when we're going in to get the Google information edited, okay, what we want to do here is as follows. You can come in, and this will walk you through the whole process, okay? Your business information will have several different components. And Jamie, if you can put it again for me, if you don't mind. Okay, so it's going to give us things like interior photos, exterior photos, okay, individual photos. So for example, if you're a restaurant, obviously you want a lot of interior photos. If you have staff that presents well, okay, that you would want to, represent to the world, put the staff photos in. Google will even tell you we need 3 interior photos. We recommend 5 exterior photos because they're going to know your category. Okay, click for me if you would. Now, okay, this is kind of interesting here. This is an Insight tab. Okay, certainly. Okay. These are tools that you can access direct from your dashboard. Let me just tell you the kinds of tools you can access. Number 1, you can find out how many times your Google profile was displayed. Now, what displayed means is as follows. Remember, you have your 3 under the maps, right? The maps tab. There might be another 10 or 12 or 15 behind that if you click see more. We've all done that, right? So there's an extra 10 or 15, let's say. If you come up, whether it's in the 3 or in the additional 10 or whatever, when you come up, that's considered a view, right? You've been offered up for someone to see. So that might have happened in this particular case 432 times, okay? It will tell us what percentage of those were for intent searches, meaning I'm searching for a dentist, Philadelphia. I'm searching for a good, a product, or a service. I'm not searching for the name Dr. John Smith as a dentist, okay? If I'm searching for Dr. John Smith and I'm looking for their name, it's a name search, versus a query search or an intent search where I'm looking for a thing to buy, get, find, etc. Typically speaking, even with, we looked at a gymnastics client of ours that's been around about 20 years. They've got about $5 million a year that do in gymnastics. They've got thousands of students. Even after 20 years in business in the same location, still 80% of their searches are for intent, where people are looking for the thing rather than looking for them directly. Okay? So it'll tell you what percentage of those are looking for the service, or what percentage are looking for you directly. It will tell you where people are requesting driving directions from primarily. So if you have a particular area of the city or of the area where people are requesting, you'll know where the locus is that the strongest interest is when there's search volume. So for example, the gymnastics, there's a place about 12 or 14 miles from them that generates the majority, or at least a substantial number of driving request directions for them. It's about 12 or 13 miles from their location. It happens to be a more affluent area, but that tells us where their primary business focus should be if they were going to do Facebook advertising or they were going to be doing, postcards or whatever the case might be. It gives us the location of the primary interest where people are searching from, okay? It tells us a number of other things as well, how many people called or clicked, right? How many people viewed the photos. Now specifically, that's how many people called or clicked direct from the Google profile. Doesn't mean that they called you and Google's tracking it somehow. It's when they hit call or get directions or whatever the case might be. So that's what your insights do. Click through it for me, okay? Now, additionally, let's talk about your Google ratings, okay? Your Google ratings show alongside the business names on all Google Maps searches, and of course in the knowledge graph of the Google profile. They show the best businesses first to increase user satisfaction. So best can be defined by things like how close are they to you, how adept are they in terms of their reviews and what have you. Now here's a shocker. Google also looks at and gives weight to whether or not you respond to your reviews. Anybody know that? Okay. The reason for that is a multifold reason. Number one, if you are responding to reviews, Google is making the decision that you are by definition a, quote, better business than someone that doesn't respond to their reviews. Yes, ma'am? You can, and the slides are all available for you as well, which you're more than welcome to. Okay? But thank you for asking. Okay? So Google is making the decision that someone that responds to reviews is a more desirable business than someone that doesn't respond to reviews. So whether we agree or disagree, those are the facts of it according to Google. Now let's talk about how reviews can actually be used intelligently. This is one of those hinges that I talked about. There's some low-hanging fruit here, so if you'll pay attention, this is important. I'm going to give you a real-world example first, okay? Lady called, her business is No Time to Cook, T-H-Y-M-E. She teaches cooking classes. As it happens, it's a fairly affluent, I mean, talk about a business. You usually go to a restaurant, you pay $100 for dinner, and they bring you the food. In her case, you pay her $100 and you cook the food, right? So, I thought, what a fabulous thing. But it's a date night type activity, it's an affluent thing. She went back to her database, got 14 reviews, she had none. She got 14 reviews in a period of like a couple weeks or so. Used those reviews, put them on Google, got them all set up, answered them and everything. She did a few other things that we taught her. She went in 25 miles out into Annapolis from Southern Maryland, was number 1 or 2 on the Google 3-pen, and got about a 40% bump in business, okay? So I think she did 150 grand a year more, plus or minus, than what she was doing. That's pretty substantial, right? Because she has fixed costs. You know what I mean? So it's a high margin business. That was a massive bump just because she applied what I'm about to teach you. Okay? Now, so go back into it for a second. All right. The other thing about reviews is as follows. If someone's responding to a review, not everybody looks and reads reviews, right? Most people look at kind of the general, what the average is. Some people do read the reviews, okay? Especially more the millennial age group are much more reliant on and dependent upon those reviews. Now, as a result of that, you want to look as good as you can from a review standpoint. So, if you respond to reviews, number one, if you respond to all of those reviews, good, bad, or indifferent, when you do have a bad review, okay, and you've responded to all of them, the credibility is greater for that bad review, the commentary that you're laying back. Follow me? If you only responded to the bad ones, it doesn't have as much weight or as much credibility. People see you as involved with your business. The typical rule of thumb from a best practices standpoint is if the review is short response. If they've given you a 2 or 3 paragraph review, right? Give them a 5, 6, 7, 8 line response back. So kind of try to match the length that's the case. Because if they had a really long review and you just had like yeah, thanks, we appreciate it, right? Or vice versa, yeah, it's dissonant for the people that are looking at the reviews. The question then is, how do I get reviews, right? Isn't that typically what people struggle with? How do I get people to review me? Haven't you asked people before? Can you give me reviews? They'll look you right in the eyes and tell you what? Sure, no problem. No issue. Okay, great. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you an email, right? Most people don't do that. They just leave it. Okay, great, give me a review. You know, most of those people don't even know how to leave a review. They don't know how to go do it, right? If I had to ask you right now, under pain of death, go do a Google review for this business, could you do it? Right? Maybe under pain of death, you take a little time to figure it out, but most people, they just don't know how to do it, okay? To do a Google review, they have to have a Google account. So they have to have a Gmail account, or they're using the GPS with Google Maps. They have to have a Google account. Most people do in today's world, but they have to have that or create it. Now, they're not going to create it, okay? No one's going to set up a Google account to do a Google review for you. I don't care how good a customer they are. But you have some customers that are better.
It's the other way around, though. If you do a really bad job,
Oh, they will. Oh, yes.
Slight review.
No question about that. They'll definitely, if you, let me search for the right word here. If you annoy them, right, enough, okay, you can fill in your own vernacular there. If you annoy them enough, they will go in and do a bad review.
And make an account in the whole 9 yards, whatever it takes.
Yep, they'll do whatever they have to do. Now, let me speak a little bit about how to get the reviews and a little bit more about reviews. I'm going to take a little more time on this than I typically would because it's just that important and it's something that you can do easily. Number one, if you read a review for a restaurant and it says, the service was decent, the food was a little bit not what I expected, a little spicier than I anticipated, not bad overall, I give it a 3.5, it's got 3.5 stars. I wouldn't go back, but maybe it's a better personal taste. That's a legitimate review, right? You'd read that, you'd be like, okay, that's cool. If the review is like, well, there were cockroaches crawling out of my plate, right? The waiter punched me in the mouth, I got sick, went to the hospital for 4 days, almost died. That's not a real review. The same way if it was like I put the food in my mouth and I was transported to, okay, that's either a disgruntled employee or the guy's brother, one or the other, okay? So those reviews are pretty much discounted. People that use reviews pretty much know, okay, that's a little extreme, and they tend not to give them much weight. It's the legitimate in-the-middle reviews that most people are going to pay attention to, and or the total stars relative to the average. Now, if you go to, and do this for me if you would, you come out of the PowerPoint. We're going to go back to the cafe or one of those listings for a moment, okay? And just go in and pull up one of the cafes that you had previously or whatever. Okay? Now, in every case, your business profile will have a spot. Pick one. No, the actual profile. Go back to the profile. All right. So, Cafe Coco. So here is their Google profile coming up here. Scroll down a little bit. Okay? And by the way, of course, you can get to the website and get directions right from here. Okay? They've got 15 Google reviews. Scroll down a little. I want to get to the write a review section. Okay, right here. Write a review. This is how someone goes in to do a review for you. But if you said to them, go do a review, they don't know to go in, pull up your Google profile, go write a, They're not going to go to YouTube to figure out how to do a review. Okay? So what you do is you click on this. Now notice, right here, right? All they've got to do, right here, describe your experience. They put the stars in, they describe their experience. Boom. And they hit enter and it's done. Now that's pretty simple, right? So when you're asking them to do a review, assuming that they actually will do it, if you give them the mechanism to do it, and to do it easily and intelligently and simply, there's a much higher probability that they'll actually do it. It may not be that they don't want to, they just don't know how, and they're embarrassed enough they're not going to say to you, I don't know how to do a review, right? Who's going to acknowledge that, okay? Now, if you click on this write a review thing here, go back for a second, notice that up top, right up here, you have a URL, correct? Cut and paste that. Just go to my email and email it to me, and I'll use it as an example. Yes, just email. Or from yours is fine, either way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the email. Thank you. I'm going to send the email with that review link and show you how simple it is to do this. Okay? So you're going to your customer. Now you've spoken to this customer in advance and spoken to them specifically about will you do a review for me. I'm going to talk to you about how to do that in a moment. Okay? So please don't forget to leave a review. She's going to cut and paste this in there. Right? Just email it to yourself. It's fine.
I haven't sent to you, so.
Okay. So go ahead and send it. And what you'll see is when that comes in, now I'm going to pretend to be the person receiving this. Okay? Okay? And what we're going to do is make it so simple that all they have to do is click on that link, and the review thing will pop right up, and they can put the review right in. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? That's as easy as it can be to get a review. So all they have to do is click on that, like I showed you, and it's going to take them right to the review bar here, where they can write the review in. Does that make sense? Everybody see that? Okay? Now, how do you ask for a review properly? Okay? First of all, you find the customers that you are most inclined towards, that are most inclined towards you. You go to them and you say, hey, would you be willing, and you use this language, would you be willing to give us a fair and impartial review of our business? Well, we know we've served you well. We think you represent well what we do for our customers. Fair and impartial. So they know, right, from an integrity standpoint, you're not trying to work them or push them. You're saying, hey, could you give us a fair review? Most people, if you ask them first for help, could you help me? Sure, what do you need? Would you give us a fair and impartial review? They've agreed to help. They're saying, sure, we would do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an email. Let me make sure I got your email. I'm going to send you an email. There's going to be a link in the email. All you have to do is click on the link, right, and put the information in, fill the stars out. Tell them 5 stars is the best, right? 1 star is the worst, so they know that if they're not used to it. I kid you not. People will come in with 1 star. Woo! Hallelujah. Okay? When you get 5 stars or more, your stars will start showing up in your profile. If you have under 5 reviews, your stars won't show up. After the 5th review, your stars will start to show up on your profile when it comes up in Google. Okay? So you send them that link, let them click in and do that. Now, again, we know that they have to have a Gmail account, right? So you're going to want to ask them, do you have a Gmail account? If they don't have a Gmail account, right, they're probably not going to open one. You can say, thank you, you need to have a Gmail account to do a review. Would you be interested in opening one? I can help you. Most of the time they'll be like, no, thank you, whatever. But the key point is, if you go to them and you already have their email, how do you know if they have a Gmail account for sure?
It's Gmail.
If they have Gmail, right, they've got a Google account, okay? If you were going to send out a blast to the 1,000 people in your database, obviously you run a risk of some people coming back that might not have been happy, that are now suddenly motivated to do a review. If you're very comfortable with the overarching kind of value that your customers have received from you, you want to send it out to all of them, you can do that as well. If you really want to take this to the next level, okay, what you should do is they'll say to you, yes, remember, you might have only picked 10 clients to do this with, okay? People you know well, say you have a barbershop, these guys have been coming in for 6, 8 years, 10 years, you kind of have some relationship with them, right? You can say to them, hey, this is really kind of important to us. I really appreciate it. Let there be a little obligation. And before you get done, you say to them, hey, let me ask you a question. Depending on the nature of your relationship with them, so let me ask you a question. If for some reason it kind of slipped your mind in a couple, 3 days, would you mind if I got back with you and made a quick call just to remind you? So now, and it will slip their mind, okay? So now they've given you permission in advance, okay, direct permission to get back with them. And the second time you call them back and say, hey, listen, oh yeah, I'll get it taken care of. Because it's already sitting in their email. Or you can send them another email. In fact, you can do it while I'm on the phone with you if you want, right? You've gotten permission from them, you've gotten their blessing to follow up with them. And believe me, they'll take that. But 10 good reviews may make tens of thousands of dollars of difference a year, maybe more in your business. It is that significant. And it's just that easy. And it's free. I said that, right? Free. It's free. You know? It's Google, right? So take advantage of it given the opportunity. The last step, if you want to, okay? And you might need a little help with this, but you can take that link. Remember it was like 3 or 4 sentences long? You can take that link and you can just embed it in something that says, please review Joe's Barber Shop, right? So it doesn't look like this really long link. It just looks like a blue highlighted Joe's Barber Shop review. They click and it does the same thing. It's just apparent that that link is for the review, okay? So you don't have to, leave it to them to imagine or wonder. You can just embed the link in a given rational connection. Joe's review, please review Joe's, whatever the case might be. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
That alone, if you got nothing else from this, if everything else was completely oblivious, you said, I'm just overwhelmed by that, right? This alone will give you some juice and some benefit and some business and some cash flow and some revenue that'll bump what you're doing now almost across the board, okay? Anybody doubt that? I mean, you understand the power of reviews, right? Okay, so I'm taking a little more time on that than typical. Let's see, I've got about 5 or 6 minutes left until I'm dead at 10. I think I started about, 10 after? All right, so I got about 15 minutes. Is that about right? Yeah. All right, I'm going to finish up here, and again, I'll be after for questions, as needed. All right, now, you can do a virtual tour. Virtual tours are very powerful tools. This allows you to go inside, and maybe you've seen these in businesses, right? You can go in, you can walk around, there's 8, 10, 12, 15 points in that business that you can walk around. This is vitally important if you have a business that has a physical location, a hair salon, a barber shop, a restaurant, an art gallery, a dentist, a massage place, chiropractor. I mean, pretty much anything where the public is going to interact with you in a space, and they're going to judge you or your services based on how you look in that space. Real estate. Now, the virtual tours for real estate can be done. Google won't do them because it's a private house, right? But it can be done with a different technology as well. Now, these are available, okay? Google will host them for free in perpetuity. You have to pay for the development of the tour. It's dependent upon the size and the location. If anyone has an interest, I'm happy to do so. They start, for a single 1 or 2 shot in the $300-400 range. Some of them have gone up into the multi-thousands for, let's say, a hospital or that sort of thing. Okay. One of my business associates recently did the first stealth destroyer for the United States Navy. Right. That was done so that they could do training. It's that effective. Okay. The bottom line is virtual tours, very effective, very powerful, very strong opportunity if it's the right business and people will respond to that. I was in Sarasota, Florida for a funeral recently and wanted to go to dinner, and literally all I could find was some ratty photos of a few of these different places, right? I almost had to roll the dice with it. I wanted to go to a cigar lounge, okay? I drove 18 miles to the cigar lounge that I wanted to go to, which was nice and high-end and comfortable because I was going to be working there, rather than to the place, because I found out that the one place had a few chairs and it was a liquor store with some cigars. Okay? It wasn't a cigar lounge, not by a long shot. Okay? But I looked and saw the one place had good photos in the tour, and I could actually see where I was going, and I drove the half hour to get there as a result, just to give you a real-world example. Go ahead and quick, boom, boom. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right. Now, if you want to get back into your Google My Business account, you go into the Google account that it's under. So if it's under this account with this username and password, all you have to do is just go in, google.com/business, and that'll take you right back into your Google account, your profile, okay? Again, to get your profile and to get access to your profile where you control the information, you have to get the verification done. If you're not verified, we can figure out how to do that for you today. or we can tell you exactly what needs to be done. Typically, they'll send you a code or something, on a text to get verified. Can you go ahead and do it, please? All right. Now, if you're doing it via postcard, they'll have a PIN that comes in the mail on the postcard. We suggest you not do that, given the choice, because it can take quite a while. Sometimes we'll go into the trash. If so, you simply go in, enter your code, and put your PIN in. I'm going to roll through a little of this more quickly. Go ahead. Can you go ahead? All right. Now, as I indicated, Google has made me available to meet with you either in person or digitally on a screen share. There's no cost to it. There's no sales dance, okay? Do we do business with people that speak with us? Absolutely we do. This is one of the primary means of outreach that we have, and our philosophy is rather than kind of do the whole sales thing, if someone listens to you and they understand that you're an expert, most of the time, right, they're going to acknowledge that, and there's a possibility of gaining relationship without this whole, you know what I mean? Especially if you're consulting with them in advance and you're not charging them, and it just kind of everything seeks its own level from that standpoint. Okay? We're happy to share what we know with you about Google. If you flip over, now the way we do this, there's several reports that we can also run for you. I'm going to go through these very quickly. These are the standard reports that we do for a client. Okay? Typically, we're about $2.99 to do that. These are done for free. There's no charge. One of them is a ranking report. This will tell you where your website proper ranks. Click again for me. It'll tell you where you rank for all the keywords that are important to you for your Google website and for your Google profile. Okay? It'll tell you specifically, and that's okay. We have an SEO checkup as well. Go ahead.
Okay.
This is a different report. It tells you what's good or bad with your website relative to your search engine rankings. Why are you ranking well? Why are you not ranking well? What's working? What's not working? What's broken? What needs to be fixed, etc. And again, if you click, that will take us down to these keywords again, and we're going to look at both organic and local. The max patch that we've been talking about, the profile, is referred to as local search. Specifically, where is your profile ranking? Okay? Organic search is where is your website ranking. Those are two different things. Okay? So we'll do the math, see where all that is on both Bing and Yahoo and Google. Okay? People actually used to, by the way, you know who uses Bing most? They've got about 7-8% of the search market. Any idea as to why? I was shocked when I found out. The reason people use Bing, especially folks that are a little bit older, they get their computers, they get them set up, and of course they're set up with what? Windows, Microsoft, which owns Bing, right? And so the default search engine is Bing, and they just never change it.
Right.
Okay? So that's how they've gotten some of that market share. So it is still of some import, particularly more in some age groups versus another. Go ahead for me if you would. Yes, ma'am.
What about Safari? Because that's what came on my iPhone.
Right. Your Safari is specifically an Apple-generated search engine. Okay? Even most people that use the iPhone, it'll default to Safari. Many people will use that, but a lot of people will have Google set up as their default on the